For the very first time, the Craic is live from New York, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Petesy Carroll, as you know. What a week it's been here in New York. I mean, my God. On every show under the book, the boys in the back even had me on, for crying out loud. Looking forward to getting a few Killians into me later, of course, with the boys, but what a week it's been. And can we just take a second to admire this set? They've pulled out all the stops for young Petesy Carroll here. We have the Halfpenny Bridge in the background here. We have a beautiful sash taken from On Air Jordan's home. Shout out Jill. And look at these t-shirts. We have the Champion Katie Taylor t-shirt. We have the event t-shirt that I got yesterday at the weigh-in. I mean, it's all coming up Petesy Carroll. Look at the massive logos we're seeing around there. And what's this? A jar of M&Ms. A tricolour. Maybe you'll be finding out all about how we constructed such jar on Thursday next week on The Boys in the Back. It is a very exciting week. Of course, today in Madison Square Garden, the trilogy fight between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor is going down. All of the Irish have arrived. All of the Puerto Ricans have arrived. The spirit in the building last night was absolutely amazing. Of course, we do have MMA news to get to as well. Dana White has been talking about the big White House card that GC doesn't think is going to happen. He's been talking about Tom Aspinall and John Jones potentially in that White House fight, even though we just were told that that fight is not happening. He's also talking about Ilya Topuria and Islam Makhachev, another fight which we were just told is not happening. A lot to be talked about. And just to say, before we get going today, our usual audio producer, Mr. Oscar Losef, he's taking the day off because it's his birthday. So happy birthday to young Oscar Losef, a beautiful young man. I hope he has an absolutely... Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, it's like a crooner version of Happy Birthday, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you. That's enough, okay? Oscar's not here. We don't give him that much. Lads, can I see you in the back there, first of all? I love you very much. This has been a beautiful, beautiful week with all of you. Look at GC in the 1990, the Italian 90 jersey, full tricolour.
Oh, yeah, with the tricolour behind me. Could have used an iron, maybe a steamer back here, but we're working with what we got. You
need to be brought out for the kit launches for Ireland. Like, these things fit you like a glove. I've never seen
a glove. It's just like to the sleeve.
Oh, look at those guns.
But, I mean, it's just like to a T. It fits perfectly. Yeah, I already got my fit on for the fights later. I'm ready to roll.
Man, you like Roy Keane didn't look that good in that jersey. It's incredible.
That's what people told me. Someone stopped me on the street today, and they were just like, ever tell you look better than Roy Keane in that jersey? I said, actually, yeah, my friend Petesy does all the time. Thanks.
On Air Jordan, man, you've pulled out all the stops here. This is absolutely beautiful, mate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, you only come to New York once, so, I mean, everything that I did was pretty expensive. I did ask for other things that you rejected, but I'll send you the bill, and we'll set it all up at the end of the week.
I've actually, I lost my email account, so... I don't know how I'm going to get those receipts.
I'll just take it straight out of your wallet that's sitting next to me.
Damn it! Thank you very much, Jordan. Andy's here as well. Andy, a legend. And Frank, of course. My beautiful, beautiful friend Frank. How are you guys doing? He's all very excited.
Who, me?
The first live Craic. Come on, this is exciting stuff. No?
Happy to be here, man.
Oh, that's... Really?
You're killing it.
Extremely happy.
Thank you, Andy. I needed that. Do you hear the way Frank was just like, whatever?
The energy is high back here.
Come on. Yeah, okay.
Never
Let's go.
base it off of Frank. You can tee Frank up for perfectly, and he'll give you 2 words.
This is beautiful. It's filling me with confidence. And look, the reason why I'm so confident is we have a very, very special guest in here with me right now. That's a man who's done more Craics with me, and I mean the podcast, not actual Craic.
Debatable.
Everybody, it's Chuck Mindenhall, the man that had the greatest MMA writer of all time, Chuck. I mean, all the way from Connecticut you've traveled.
Yeah, and this is my first time in the studio, and you're coming from Ireland, and you've been here all week, so I'm glad I finally got the invitation on the Friday of fight week.
What do you think of the studio? It's very...
Beautiful, man. You know what I like is the objectivity here as a good journalist and all the Puerto Rican representation that we can take a look at, you know.
We had so much of it that we just didn't know where to put it. We thought it would clash with the green, and we were like, we don't want people to be, you know. Well, they don't want to be looking in and going, I wonder where Peter is from. Because I could be confused for a Puerto Rican then. I'm actually from Ireland, guys, okay? I just want to clarify that before we move forward. Chuck, 3 years since the first one, and we were there at that as well, and it was a magical, magical time. But before we talk about that, there is another member of the team who isn't here today, and it's not going to be the same without him. Sorry. it's just usually we do the show, of course, with Ben.
Yeah. If we talk quietly, he won't.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Oh my God, guys. He cannot be with us on today's show because he's had a pretty brutal fall on the ice playing hockey. He's lost all of his limbs. They've been chopped off by errant, what are they called, cleats?
no, skates, I believe.
Skates, yeah, skates. Look, I mean, what do you remember about Ben when he did the show?
Just the smile.
Yeah.
And the joie de vivre, is that how you say? He always had a little twinkle in his eye.
And his beard was always so well manicured and his hair so nice, you know?
What a good tribute, though. We should have told him more about that smile.
That smile that lit up homes all over the world every Friday.
All right. He couldn't be here.
Ben,
all right.
Ben, we'll see Ben next week. He's completely fine. But we miss him.
Limbs intact.
His limbs are all there.
If we find out he lost some limbs now, we're going to feel pretty embarrassed.
Sure, that's what I was saying. The first fight at MSG was a bit of an iconic moment, and we were sitting up there, and I know, like, people would usually want to be beside the ring, and maybe when we sat down and we were in a bit of a higher location, we were like, oh, well, I'm not too happy about this. But we did get to soak in the crowd, which was basically split down the middle between Puerto Ricans and Irish, and the atmosphere in there was absolutely incredible that night, April 2022.
It felt like, and if you remember, our whole dialogue going in was, can you believe we're here? That these women are going to headline Mecca, right? That had so many. And you walk through MSG and you see the posters of, Muhammad Ali, of Joe Frazier. It felt like a big moment. And it ended up being a bigger moment because here we are 3 years later doing a trilogy fight. And what I think, and I was writing about this, is the biggest rivalry we've seen and probably the most significant rivalry we've had in women's boxing. So that night was magical, man. It was just the crowd, the way that the crowd got into it. And it was weird because they would kind of intercept each other. Every punch, it felt like there was somebody erupting within that crowd. And in that fifth round, you remember the fifth round when Katie really got banged up and she was bleeding and it looked like she was in big trouble. That place was, everybody was standing. It was as loud as it gets. Even the dignitaries, all the people around the ring, it just felt so like you were part of a crazy experience, Yeah. And for her to survive the fight, not only survive it, but to win it, what a wild thing, man.
It did feel like a coronation moment that night. And it's interesting because, and we're going to have Gavan Casey, the great Gavan Casey from Ireland, to come on and talk to us a bit more about this now in a few minutes. But it's crazy how we kind of came away from that event, the first one, going like, this is the queen of boxing. She felt like she had this regal moment. It felt like it was a culmination of these decades she'd put in. We've been talking all week about what she means to women's boxing, but the second fight then is so interesting because she's been sullied, people on the broadcast. It's crazy to watch the broadcast now, knowing how it's all played out. The commentators are so scathing when they release the scorecards. Of course, Jordan Maldonado, Serrano's coach, being so visceral, like this is a dirty fighter, all this kind of stuff. Amanda herself, and I know she apologizes for the next day, but in the ring, when 47 million people are watching, she's like, we know she's a dirty fighter. She did it to Chantel Cameron. She's doing it to me now. It's wild how the narrative has shifted, despite Katie being undefeated in this rivalry.
It's been crazy, and I guess that's what rivalries do, right? Yeah. They go through these different moments where things turn, or there's something that 40 minutes of action. And if they go the full distance, it'd be 1 hour, right? So this is a magic hour of these guys just kind of changing their nerves. Because you remember when they first came out, Serrano goes up and she's like, we did this. Like, do you remember that? Like, she goes up and she's like, we did this. Look around. And Katie's like, I've been here, It was just a great way to start and to end up kind of where we are now, where you get a large audience that basically saw that second fight, fell in love with it, but thought the wrong person won. And now Katie being a pretty sizable underdog going into this fight, but just kind of bearing the brunt of it and carrying a chip on her shoulder. Yeah. And seeing how all that plays out. I mean, this is you can't get better than this. You remember Serrano was almost like she was wide-eyed through that whole first process at MSG. She really didn't have the money. So when Jake Paul's trying to bet $1 million, remember this whole thing? She's like, oh my God, this is crazy. We're talking about $1 million. And to kind of end up now where they've kind of helped each other get rich and become like these names within the industry, it's been an odyssey. And so it feels like you're coming, maybe it comes to an end tonight, but there's a possibility we go best of 5.
I mean, that is what we were all worried about in Ireland. There's like, we'll talk to Gavan about this more because he's talked about it quite a bit, like this paternal instinct the Irish people have, and it's a bit creepy. He always says, like, it's a bit weird the way we're like, oh, protect Katie. He's coming in here in a minute, but I will say, like, that first event, do you remember Larry taking us down to that area?
Yeah.
And we're in there.
Larry Torres.
Yes, the legend. And we were in this locker room, and we're about to record our old show, the Ringer MMA show, and in walks Katie Taylor.
Yeah. And
Ariel, who's hosting the show, gets up from the table and he goes over to speak to her. And me and you were just like, Katie Taylor is here. I don't know.
She basically goes, hey, guys. She had her whole entourage, too, kind of with her and celebrating.
It's just a wild night to think back on it, man. It's a magical place.
If we get anything like the first 2 fights, you know, where you get like a fight of the year and then something that's even crazier, really, in Dallas, like, this has to be considered one of the greatest trilogies ever. Gotti and Ward couldn't, maintain their first one. You know what I mean? This would be like Gotti Ward, basically for women's MMA.
Yeah, it's insane when you think about it.
Yeah,
we do that a lot. You know, it's
we're normally on MMA. You know,
we will be talking about MMA soon. Everyone relax, okay? But before that, we have the greatest Irish boxing journalist in the world with us here today. It is Gavan Casey, who's come all the way from Queens. Here comes GC. This is amazing. Look at the man getting moved in here. The great Gavan Casey of the 42. It is a pleasure to be joined by him, as always. How are you, sir? Look at you.
Very, very well, thank you.
Gavin, Chuck, of course, you know each other.
Yes, we met.
Don't start mentally jousting each other now with your two beautiful minds.
He stays in his lane. We're all no.
Gavin, how are you? First of all, are you doing well?
I'm flying it, man. Yeah, this week has been such an antidote to what happened in Dallas, which was a difficult week professionally for various reasons.
Why? What happened?
Just a difficult week to negotiate and navigate, and this has a sense of being something more pure, you know? Even I heard you guys talking about the weigh-in, the electricity of it last night. There's something a little bit more human about it all, and a little bit more conventional as far as a boxing event goes as well. So I've absolutely loved the week so far. I wasn't that excited coming over because it's the third fight of a trilogy in which one of the boxers is 2-0 up ultimately, right? Up 2-0. So I was quickly disabused of my lack of enthusiasm, and I'm raring to go now, absolutely buzzing. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, but you mentioned that you're flying it. What happened on Tuesday when you were actually flying?
Oh my God.
You were taking off. You're like, I might make the open workouts here. And what happened?
You know, the open workouts were set in the Oculus Center at the rebuilt World Trade Center, and they're designed by a Spanish architect, Santiago Caltavara, who actually designed not the bridge behind you, Petesy, but the James Joyce Bridge and the Samuel Beckett Bridge in Dublin. Right? And he's designed this Oculus Center to resemble a dove as an ode to peace, given the context and the location. And there's no taxonomical differences between doves and pigeons, but I've found in my experience, pigeons are more so birds of war, because a flock of them took out one of the engines on the plane. We had to make an emergency landing back in Dublin. We departed Dublin, we landed in Dublin.
How long were you up in the air for, like?
Maybe like 25, 30 minutes. So we weren't too far gone. I was sort of confident at that point that even if we had to freewheel at home, that the pilot would steer us back to safety, right? Usually I think what would happen is they have to dump the fuel over skerries and then turn back, because if the engine combusts, they want the fuel gone from the plane.
God,
so I was okay about it. I feel as though when you're in the sky, just control the controllables, man. You know, there's nothing I can do about it at this point. There were a couple of younger people around me panicking a little bit, but
I'd been losing my shit.
That's all right.
I thought I was cool, okay, and then I peered forward to the row in front of me. There's an elderly gentleman, and he was just locked into The Departed.
Great.
But he did not even glance out the window when we landed back in Dublin. I don't think he knew what was going on. He didn't care. He wanted to finish that movie, and he finished it on the runway while we were taxiing around the place. He
finished with The Return.
That is crazy. Mate, that is absolutely insane. Well, I'm glad you're still alive, first of all, and everyone on the plane still alive.
Yes.
That's a nightmare scenario, though, man. I cannot stand that.
I've been emergency landed a few times coming out of Vegas, like twice.
Yeah, but you've caused that.
Yeah,
yes.
Fair enough, 16 points. Shouldn't have done it. What can you do? Gavin, you've covered Katie for a long time. You've your finger on the pulse of boxing in Ireland like no one else. This is a very different Katie we're seeing this week. Well, in terms of like I can never really remember her having her back up like this. And there's been moments in the documentary she released where it shows like when she feels disrespected, she will go, hang on a second. And there's been a lot of hang on a seconds here this week. I believe do we have a video of some Katie Taylor trash talk from this week?
The fact is, I am 2-0 against her, and it's
Amanda doesn't think so.
opinions are opinions, but facts are facts, and you can't get away from those facts.
Is that you hooting over there, Gavin?
Yeah, I guess I'm just sick of the complaining and whining from your team.
That was the YouTubers, I think.
Oh no, she didn't.
Hopefully we don't have nearly as many for this one.
You know what? We got a little bit of access to Katie afterwards in a media scrum, and I put it to her jokingly. Like, firstly, we were divided into 4 groups, and she was going to come around to my group last, and I thought, knowing Katie, she's going to do about 7 minutes here. She's probably not going to even get to me. And they had, like, Nikisa Badarian and others had warned us, do not leave your group. But I was like, F that, you know what I mean? I'm like, I need to get like at least a question in. So I just blurted one over the shoulders of the people who were supposed to be there. And I was like, you know, Katie, like, you've obviously become one of the biggest trash talkers in the history of boxing at this point. And she was like, me? But I said to her, like, you are speaking more freely and you are engaging with Amanda more so than you have in the past or more so than previous opponents. And she made the point that, like, she was sick of the nonsense, as she put it. And she said that I don't mind speaking my mind when I feel as though I have to. And the fact that she feels as though she has to is interesting to me, because it does mean that Serrano has gotten her back up. I think Serrano stirs something in her that we only typically see behind the scenes, which is that antagonistic side of her. And people who have followed Taylor's career would find it difficult to believe that there is even that side to her. But as you guys know, any boxer who reaches like that top 0.1% of their sport, whose career earnings have set them up for life, they're freaks, and of course they have that edge to them, right? And like, Taylor is capable of turning the screw on Amanda a little bit. She absolutely adores the fact that she's 2-0 up in this rivalry, and I believe
those are the facts.
And I believe that a big aside from maybe $5 or $6 million or whatever it is that she earns tonight, a massive carrot being dangled in front of her was the opportunity to go 3-0 up on Madison Serrano and just twist the knife further. I mean, can
you imagine if she makes it just emphatic? This would be the moment, because you almost like, then the first 2 fights you forget. You know what I mean? Any asterisk that you wanted to place on him, you'd be like, no. I mean, well,
that was Rosie Perez, mate, okay? Only Rosie Perez wanted the asterisk, as I remember correctly.
But how interesting is that, right? So Rosie Perez retracted those comments about the asterisk. She said, I think she said something along the lines of, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. She felt so guilty about it. I may be misquoting her there, so don't quote me on it. But it was something roughly along those lines. And she's not on the broadcast tonight, right? And Mauro Ranallo is not on the broadcast tonight.
Mauro's a legend as well.
Mauro is a legend. I didn't think it was his best night, personally. But I really like the guy. And it's an entirely new broadcast team. Layla Ali is on there, daughter of Muhammad Ali, who's a massive Katie Taylor fan by her own admission. And I suspect that Taylor's team, when they sat down for contract negotiations, would have actually had some kind of an influence over those creative decisions. But in the Netflix trailer, Perez's comment is in there, right? So Netflix still used it as a hook to sell the fight, but didn't actually give Perez the opportunity to make amends for it, I guess, or to appear tonight.
Chuck wrote about the rivalry for Uncrowned. He wrote a great piece about it. And this is the thing, though. It is the great hook. You need something. As you said, like, you're coming over and you're like, she's 2-0 up. Like, what is there to get excited about? It is that whole doubt that's been cast, that the sullying of this near saint of Ireland. You know, it's like, oh, she's dirty. Actually, did you ever watch her fight? She's really dirty. And,
I've heard that quite a bit from people who don't pay attention. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Like, people mention the headbutting, they mention this stuff, but they don't really pay attention. You know, they're tuning in for the Netflix.
Mike Costello was on a podcast with me yesterday, or I should say I was on a podcast with him. He's an absolute legend, British broadcasting legend. And he made the point that if Taylor was truly a dirty boxer, she would have been penalised for it a lot more in her 23 previous fights before, say, the Cameron rematch, which is where this narrative kind of began. and before the initial Serrano rematch. And I do think in Dallas, Serrano was taking the lead from Cameron, who had made that initial complaint. But it was a new complaint at a very late stage in Taylor's career, right? She did back it when she beat Rose Valanche for the IBF title in Philadelphia way back when, 2017 or something like that. That fight, like, she did crack heads with Valanche as they both lunged forward. The thing is with Taylor, she gets tired quite early, and that's where it becomes an absolute roller coaster, right? After 3-4 rounds, she's hanging out her arse a little bit. She's 39 years of age. Her legs aren't what they used to be, and that's why, I truly believe, as much as I have a huge admiration for Serrano's boxing ability and courage and everything else, like I do truly believe that had they fought around 2019, 2020, Taylor would have had her way with her and maybe made that emphatic or achieved that kind of emphatic victory that she may still do. But when she tires, she gets a little bit crude, right? And she abandons all of that beautiful, picturesque, technical boxing that you and I would have associated with her from the amateurs. She becomes a warmonger, but with that, she does lunge forward. And it's not that she's trying to intentionally headbutt an opponent, but she doesn't care if she does, right? So it's careless. It's bordering on dirty. I was asked yesterday, is there a grain of truth to the idea that Taylor is dirty? And yes, I would say there's a grain of truth.
Get him out of here.
All right, that's been Gavan.
Cue his music and get him the fuck out of here. No, but
you know, if you watch
from the outside,
even in the first fight, there's the collision of heads almost happens a couple of times. Like you go back and watch it. I don't really feel like she was doing anything. Maybe you have a different take, but it didn't seem like she was doing anything too different in that second fight. They just happened to.
No, I completely agree. And the point, like the incident for which she was deducted a point was an absolute farce. Like that was barely even a head clash to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, Ross Enamai has a compilation, as he often does, of Serrano lunging in with her head as well. And like he pointed out quite rightly afterwards that Taylor was also caught here. The idea of leading with your head in combat sports is counterintuitive, as we all know, right? So this idea that it would be a secret weapon of hers or almost her primary weapon doesn't really track with reality to my mind. But I'll tell you what, it will be interesting to see how she negotiates that tonight, because if the perception exists, if that becomes reality to a referee, then she's under pressure, right?
I think it's nearly guaranteed to happen in the fight.
Well, it is guaranteed to happen. What I mean is, if Serrano embellishes head contact, right, and you know, throws her arms out, and I can absolutely see that.
Well, at least we know our coach won't be very vocal about it. If it does happen.
But by the way,
always take the high road. You know?
But by the way, if she does, good on her. Like, win this fight by hook or by crook for either of them, right?
Yeah.
Even if it means actually deliberately using your head, if you can get away with it, do it. Like, this is elite prize fighting. Like, cut out the bullshit, the whinging, and whatever else. This is a contact sport. Do whatever you can to win. If that means bringing the referee into the equation, do it. So I think Serrano will try to do that. But what I wonder about that is, like, does it influence Taylor to try to sit off her a tiny bit more? Whereas in the initial rematch, she actually deliberately tried to outgun her a little bit down the stretch because she felt it was the only way she could win at that point. Like, does this change in dynamics maybe slightly influence Taylor's approach to this fight? Probably not, because as we know, she's a lunatic.
Can I ask you guys, you've been around her a lot more. Like, I've seen her just the one time in person, but her being emotional, I guess, like carrying some kind of anger or contempt for what's happening. Like, have you seen her in this kind of form before? Has there been somebody who's brought this out, and like, how do you think she handles it? Because some people, honestly, if they go in there emotional, you know, good competitors who've done it their whole lives, it does alter things for them.
I would say that only Serrano has really evinced this from her, right? I would say that Delphine Persoon annoyed her, because when she fought Persoon at the Garden, in, was it June 2019, on the undercard of Vandy Ruiz's unbelievable upset of Anthony Joshua, I don't know if it was most, but certainly a lot of people felt as though Persoon won that fight. I was there. I had a pretty good view. I scored it a draw. I watched the fight back. I scored it a draw. I didn't think Taylor had done enough to win it, but honestly, it's 10 rounds. I scored them 5 each, you know, and because Persoon kicked up such a fuss,
let it go. It's all right,
I'm desecrating this flag here, and I won't stand for it.
I cannot believe this.
He's going to secretly put the Puerto Rican sash.
No, I wouldn't live that one down. But because Persoon was so disgusted with that verdict in the end, like, she had plenty to say afterwards. And when they fought in that rematch, Taylor, I would say, was spiky. Because of course she's going to be, right? It was probably the first time, in fact it was the first time really where an opponent had a legitimate claim to having beaten her. Jessica McCaskill, an excellent boxer who went on to become an undisputed champion, tried the same thing, but it didn't have any credibility because Taylor had beaten her quite convincingly. Pursoon had a claim, right? So Taylor obviously was annoyed by that. But the beautiful, I guess like what transpired to be interesting about that, to Chuck's question, is that if she was emotional or if she was angry, say, about it, she produced like this beautiful, technical, polished boxing display to beat Pursoon more convincingly the second time around. And if you recall the verdict after that fight, Pursoon bowed to her as though to say, look, you got me this time.
Yeah.
And if that's how it materializes, that Taylor's able to convert that emotion into a more disciplined performance, then she probably wins tonight. But there's something different about Taylor and Serrano together, right? That's why it's a great trilogy. They bring the devil out in each other, and I just don't know that game plans play any role in this fight tonight, or at least I don't think they will beyond like the first or second round.
Can it really exceed the first two, though?
Well, I didn't think the second fight could
that's
live
what
up
I'm
to the first,
saying.
you
Yeah.
know? So it's...
Which one was better to your mind? What do you think, Chuck?
I thought the first one, but there was something about the added drama of that cut, happening so early.
But it's also like the second fight is because, we talked that week. It was Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. It was like a blemish on the sport. And
they were the other side of the ledger that kind of gave it some kind of merit.
They shone through, like in a way, like all you were thinking about, like it was impossible to see past Paul Tyson. And you were just thinking about how badly it could go wrong. And then this beautiful fight happens. It's like, my God, she's doing it again. These two women are doing it again. They are showing like this is what boxing is. This is the purity of the sport. This is the brilliance of the sport.
And by the way, that's why they're back here in the main event.
Yeah.
Netflix recognized that. And Paul deserves at least some credit.
I was going to ask you about that because obviously you were at that. You wrote a brilliant article. It had that scene, I don't know if you remember, Brian Peters trying to go up at the press conference with Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
And he's like, they aren't letting him through, and he gives them what's for, let's say. But,
what are you going to do, big boy?
Yeah, that's what you're going to do, big boy. What a legend. But it feels different this time in terms of like this is a meaningful card. Like a massive amount of world titles on the line. All types of women fighting on this card. A real spotlight like we've never seen on the women's sport. Obviously, in Florida, when I read your piece, I felt like you were almost like, I'm a dying breed. I'm here to cover this sport as a journalist, and I don't feel like there's a lot of people around me. Has this been a more pure affair than what you saw in Dallas?
Yeah, it's been antidotal, It's been like the antithesis of Dallas in ways. It's reminded me of... I haven't been doing...
It's like dredging up the war. Thinking about Dallas.
It's got that 1,000-yard stare.
I haven't been doing this for that long, right? Like you and I are roughly the same age. I've been covering the sport for maybe 8 or 9 years, about 7 of which I've been like lucky enough to be able to travel to these events. And I thoroughly enjoyed like that era sort of between like 2019 and just before, maybe like 2017 as far as the pandemic, where like what an experience that was. And there seemed to be still some value in the written word at these events, whereby promotional outfits would accommodate you and recognize that as much as younger people may not be reading a subscription service in Ireland, like there would still be an audience there to whom you're exposing the event, right? And that has died off very quickly, I would say, in recent years, and Dallas felt like the nadir. But also, like, I'm
glad I skipped it in the end.
But you know what? Like, it was a very rewarding professional challenge in the end because you had to write around it. Like I remember, like this, like. Listen to this kind of bollocksology now, right? Like I wrote about it at the time, but there was a post-fight press conference in the bowels of Cowboy Stadium. I was an accredited journalist. I got down there like pretty soon after everything had wrapped up. I had filed my report and they wouldn't let me into the press conference. And I was like, what is the problem here? And they were like, it's just a little bit too full inside. I was like, yeah, like it's a pretty highly subscribed event, I would imagine. But I could see in the door that there were seats there, you know? So it's just a guy being a dickhead.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm like, okay, how the hell am I going to get into this thing? And I saw Shadeja Green, who's boxing tonight on the undercard, coming along with her team, and they were going in a back entrance to the room where the press conference took place. And I ran over to them and I was like, guys, I've flown from Ireland to cover this event. Is there any chance you could just pretend I'm part of your team and I could go in with you? And one of her trainers or S&C guys was like, man, absolutely. We love Katie, by the way. Come on in. So that's how I got into the press conference.
Wow.
Think of how stupid that is.
That is insane.
And I don't mean to, like, I'm not somebody who like believes anything in media is really sacred. I think you have to move with the times. Whatever people are interested in is what probably should exist ultimately. But the fact that Netflix don't deal in words at all, they deal in numbers, sort of froze us out of the last one. Where it's different this week, maybe this is a little bit of a self-indulgent way to like interpret the fight, because I think in a general sense it's just a more pure and enjoyable affair anyway. The atmosphere is better, it's more familial, right? There's a lot of kids around, everybody's just in a good mood, it's a bit brighter. Dallas, all the events were very dark and horrible.
There's no 58-year-old former champion on
Yeah, off the back of 8 blood transfusions to make it that far. But because Netflix recognised that Taylor and Serrano on their own don't quite have the brand recognition of Paul and Tyson, they've had to involve as much media as possible. So they have made them accessible to us a little bit more, which just makes the week a little bit easier from a creative point of view. And what I like about this one, you mentioned it, Petesy, the fact that it's an all-women's card and it is on an unprecedented platform for the women's sport, is that where you have 300 plus million subscribers, as they're at pains to remind us all week, whatever portion of that audience tunes in will be enormous, okay? But it will be organic. There will be no caveats. Whatever figure they were floating around after the Paul Tyson event, was it like 74 million people tuned into Taylor-Serrano cumulatively or something along those lines?
Minute by minute, 47 million.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of massaging going on there, I'd imagine, of those numbers. But like, it was still, like, I'm sure there would have been, again, a portion of that 74 million who wanted to watch Taylor and Serrano, but we'll never know exactly the number. And a lot of them will have been passive observers tuning in to watch a car crash, the same as people who watch reality TV at night. So this one is, like, every single viewer they get is going to be an organic sort of real viewer. There will be... there will be no caveats afterwards, and that will prove an interesting piece of data to my mind, because if the number is big, it will prove that by boxing on that undercard in Dallas, as much as it to some people may have sullied them slightly, it actually helped their sport ultimately, helped their cause.
Yeah. What do you think of the fact that this is a very, very... Well, look, yesterday at the weigh-in, it felt like Serrano was the champion.
Yeah.
We have the video of this, right?
God.
I don't know if you saw this, Chuck. We'll stick it on here. It's here comes Katie Taylor, who walked out first, and the lights are very nice in the background there, and as you can see, she's standing on a platform here, and her abs look fantastic. Fair play, Katie, in absolutely ridiculous shape, 135.8 pounds. So out first, of course, she is the champion. She's 2-0 up in this situation.
here we go, champ.
Here comes
we
the
go.
champ. Right, watch this. Look at the platform. What is happening?
Yeah, what is that about?
I haven't seen the official broadcast footage of this, but Taylor's reaction to it is very funny. Like, she had made a comment at the press conference that she knew, like, I know that all of MVP are against me, right? But I understand that she kind of retracted that in a conversation with Nikisa Badarian afterwards, because they actually get on relatively well, and MVP treat Taylor with respect, relatively speaking. So I don't know that she felt as though she had worded that correctly, but as Serrano was ascending towards the heavens there in front of the adoring crowd at MSG, Taylor and Badarian like are both cracking the shits laughing with each other. So Taylor said to him, like, I told you were against me, or something along those lines.
It's like something out of Righteous Gemstones.
I mean, just the fact that she was second, like Serrano came out last, even that.
But, like, does this play into what we were talking about earlier, when it's like, this is just going to add to the chip on Taylor's shoulder? And we saw it. Look,
it has to. Man.
It wasn't just the loss to Cameron. I feel when she went to that rematch, there was a different kind of chip. It was like a lot of the retirement talk. I remember there was a lot there then. But I think her seeing this will only fuel the fire to some extent.
It's got to. I think Serrano's demeanor and all of the contractual stipulations that she has received, and the couple that she tried to get, including 3-minute rounds that she didn't get, are interesting because you could view it as maybe somebody who is just like really trying to convince themselves that they are the star or they are the A side, like trying to gain that tiny 1% psychological edge over the other. And one of those stipulations was that the fight takes place at a 136-pound catch weight, right? And for anybody who doesn't know, Taylor's light welterweight belts, which are 140 pounds, are still on the line because 136 is just above the lightweight limit. So it's still technically a light welterweight fight, but it's 4 pounds lighter than the weight at which they met in Dallas. But so what we just saw, or if you're listening, it was footage of the ceremonial weigh-in from yesterday evening, but they weighed in officially early in the morning, right? So it's in a nearby hotel. The New York State Athletic Commission are there to witness it, to register it, etc. And Taylor got there bang on time, 135.8, and she was hanging around waiting for Serrano, and Serrano was AWOL. And from what I understand, like even Serrano's team were a little bit annoyed just by the fact that the whole process was becoming so prolonged. And when she eventually did get there, she hit the scales at exactly 136 with a delay, which would suggest that she maybe had to hop in a sauna for 20 minutes just to get rid of those last couple of ounces. And I know Taylor's team were over the moon that she was late because she was the one who made the determination that this fight would take place at a catch weight, but it looks as though of the two of them, at least, she was the one who struggled more to actually make that catch weight in the first place. So it's an interesting dynamic. It may mean absolutely nothing ultimately, but it's just one where I wonder, has she almost like by adding so many wrinkles to this, like trying to gain those advantages, is it like almost too much to compute, or maybe it just takes from your focus a tiny bit, like, and a more conventional approach as the challenger, even, which she is, might have been a little bit more beneficial.
Yeah, she's.
What do you guys think this atmosphere is going to be like tonight? Because the first time I was a little surprised, to be honest, that the Puerto Rican, they showed up.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I really thought it was going to be 80% Irish that first time, and it was way closer to like 50-50, I thought.
Oh, definitely.
You think that's the same tonight?
Yeah, and I think the like, as much as we're kind of saying, like, look, this is a close fight, the second fight, this isn't, Katie Taylor is not this outward just trying to headbutt everyone kind of fighter. There is a lot of that narrative that is, like, the Puerto Rican people are like, Amanda was robbed. She was robbed. She won that fight. She won the first fight.
I know.
Like, what is going on here? We need to correct the record here. I think they're going to have their backs up a lot more than the Irish here this time.
What is it going to be like, though? Imagine if this is another razor close fight.
Oh, I think it's bound to be.
And they give it once again to Taylor. Can you imagine what this is going to be like?
Yeah,
The facts are.
I would say the original one would have been like 60-40 Irish, and I think tonight will be 60-40 Puerto Rican, right? Like, I think 5,000 people travelled from Ireland for the first one. Nowhere near as many people are going to travel from home for this one. I think purely because that first one, the significance of headlining at Madison Square Garden for the first time, it felt really seminal, right? Yeah. And I know this is a seminal one for women's boxing in general, given the nature of the card, but that one felt seminal for Taylor. It felt like a once-in-a-lifetime trip for a lot of sports fans from Ireland who wish to support her. With the fact that this is the third time they're fighting, understandably, people wouldn't be willing to fork out the couple of grand it's going to cost to get over here. In which case, like, there are more tickets available to the massive Puerto Rican population in this city. And also, like, a key point here is that Amanda Serrano is a far bigger star now than she was 3 years ago. You can make the case that purely through her association with Taylor, but also because, in fairness to Jake Paul and MVP, they've done an excellent job of platforming her. She's a legitimate boxing star now, right? She was
fighting down at the theater, right? Like, just like a year prior or something like that. Not
for sure,
Heather Hardy, right? Like, that fight was just at the theater, and to kind of catapult into the situation.
And on, even like Eddie Hearn signed her for a 3-fight deal in order to create the first Taylor fight for, he tried to make it for many years, and she dragged her heels and refused to take it, took it a couple of times, pulled out of it, etc. And like all of that, all of those delay tactics were vindicated because in the end, when they met for the first time, she made $1 million. So her and her team deserve a lot of credit for not only how great a boxer she is, but for the fact that she's, in boxing terms, a bit of a commercial behemoth now. Like, people think of, I think it's like, there is like the 0.01% of boxing, your Canelos, Terence Crawfords, Furies and Usyks, who make like 30, 40, 50 million quid per fight. Like anybody who gets to Taylor and Serrano's level, who's earning maybe like certainly 7 figures per fight at this point, is is doing better than like, you know, the vast majority of professional boxers to have ever lived. So both of them are like legitimate. There's nothing tokenistic about it, is my point, anymore. I think like in an effort to elevate women's boxing, of course there would have been like exceptions made and maybe times in which the quality of female boxing was embellished or exaggerated because like people wanted to see it do well, and people like Eddie Hearn wanted to see, did it have potential commercial scope? I think it does now, at least these two boxers do now. And again, like to on Serrano's side of the equation, like she is a person now that I think Puerto Ricans would travel to watch.
Yes.
The way Taylor was 3 years ago. I don't think it's just going to be Puerto Ricans from Brooklyn turning up tonight. I think it's going to be people from Puerto Rico turning up tonight.
Yeah. It's you have one of the best, like one of the most unique takes on Taylor and the constant talk about retirement around her. And I've heard you say that, you've said it to me a number of times as well, but it's something that naturally pops up in the question when you're 39. I mean, you've been boxing as long as Katie Taylor does, but Katie Taylor does not like the idea of all of us sitting around and having a chat about, maybe it's time, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't like it. And you, I believe you call it the Irish people's paternal instinct, don't you, when it comes to Katie Taylor?
Yeah, because there is a compulsion to protect her, because like she's a national icon to our country. Like she's a cultural institution in our country. People have followed her career, like most people passively, right? Because boxing is just not a big sport in Ireland. But people have passively followed her career since she was 15, 16 years of age and started winning medals. She's 39 now. She's been in people's lives for a really long time, bringing success through Dublin Airport every time she competes at a tournament or in her professional career competes for world titles. She's given people at the Irish diaspora amazing nights in Boston, in Philadelphia, in New York, in the UK, etc. So she means a lot to people, and people don't want the next fight to be the one that is too many. That's understandable. It's an understandable instinct, protective instinct to have towards somebody who means that much to your country or to you personally. But I think sometimes people just don't articulate that well, and they maybe... I would never be forceful in saying like, oh, she has to retire. She's also an intelligent 39-year-old woman who has conditioned herself like better than most boxers to have ever lived, to the point that like when she's in trouble in the 5th round in the first bout, she somehow recovers and actually just about nicks it down the stretch, for example. So like I would trust her instincts here if she feels as though it's a good idea to take this fight. If she wants to fight again afterwards, like I'm not going to lie, like I'd probably be like, why though? At that point, I would, I just, because I don't. Money. Yeah. And honestly, go make it. Look at Petesy. Look where he is now.
Yeah, I know.
It's gone big time.
Loaded,
He doesn't go to his mailbox for less than 50,000.
You're right. It's all true. It's all true. Can I ask about your reaction to Pete Taylor returning? That's something out of left field. And to be honest, we were talking about it like in the Netflix thing. Like,
a little bit more of the emotional stuff again, though, like another side of it,
Yeah. Well, like, were you shocked to hear that when it came out, or did you expect this to happen?
No, I knew they've reconciled essentially and have been reconciled for several years now. So they're good,
But just in terms of Ross, the kind of guy that Ross Enamate is in her corner, like obviously Pete did out, like he was there for the whole running amateur, all that kind of stuff, like incredibly, like the most pivotal character, like in terms of Katie's boxing career. But Ross is a very forceful dude. Like he is not a guy that's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll do this, and then Pete, you can do this. That's where I'm surprised.
I guess Ross, having worked with Taylor for so long, would have the trust in her to, I guess, again, back her instinct. But like, it's a little bit like the fact that Eddie Hearn has effectively leased Taylor out to MVP for 2 fights in a row, wherein she's done a lot for you. So, you've got to scratch her back as well. Like she is coming towards the end. This is deep into the third act, irrespective of whether she retires after this one or the next one. Like there aren't going to be more than 2 more, right? Mm-hmm. So I think like she has such kind of a gravitas that like if she wants to do something, the people who have worked with her for a long time will be like, yeah, I owe it to you to facilitate that because you've given me a lot. So I don't know that it's. Yeah, I hadn't really actually considered it until you asked me about it, to be fair, but I guess I wasn't shocked just because I know what it meant to Taylor to have trained under her dad and like how influential he was. And we know as well, like from the documentary and from Taylor's own words, how damaging it was to her when they couldn't work together for the Rio Olympics. Like, if you think back to the Rio Olympics, Petesy, when she lost to Mira Pakkonen, a boxer who she had beaten every time previously across 5 or 6 fights, it felt as though she was past her athletic prime at that point. It looked as though she wasn't quite as sharp as she used to be. That was 9 years ago, right? And I would make the point that like she is now past her athletic prime. There is no way that you're not at 39. And if you look at old footage of her, like she was faster. She had sharper legs. Like her calves weren't seizing up. She was able to move. So for her to be able to adapt into the athlete she still is remarkable in its own way. But back at Rio, she looked kind of finished. Like to anybody who isn't familiar, like this was.
She looked athletically different as well.
She did. Like her shoulders were a little bit lower. Like to anybody who didn't really tune into her amateur career, she was an indomitable force. But suddenly at this Rio Olympics, she looked human, and I think she was around 29 at the time, which isn't old, but you could make the case that. Yeah, like a lot of athletes do begin to wane in various ways around that age. So people were like, well, that could be it for Katie. But like, look at what she's achieved since. And it kind of puts into context how much of a deficit, the deficit at which she was operating without her dad there. The fact that she was like genuinely upset on a human level obviously would have interfered with her training. But the thing is, Pete Taylor is an excellent... he's an excellent technical boxing coach, but with a real expertise in S&C, and she was just missing that. So, knowing how effective he was with her for obvious reasons, like that bond between them, maybe it's that little bit of inspiration that you need to get yourself up for one last fight with a boxer who you've just about beaten twice already.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. Before you go, Gavan, I've got to ask you, and I just want to state as well, Gavan. He's not biased like me. I'm not going to lie to you. He has picked against Taylor many times publicly. One of them has bitch in the arse, right? The second, Chantel Cameron, I believe, right?
I called the Cameron fights correctly.
Oh, which one then?
Serrano last time.
Oh, that's right.
I think I may have said Serrano would win the first one as well.
You're a disgrace.
I'm actually a big Amanda Serrano fan. I am, like, truly, I admire her, but...
So what is it this time? That's what I want to ask you. This time around, tell me how you're feeling about this.
Amanda Serrano. Genuinely, I think it will go that way. But
good omen, though, right?
I'll try to... I'll try to contextualize it, because it's not so much prediction made through the lens of boxing skill itself. It's more, I think, boxing as a whole, or like if you were to describe boxing as being a singular entity, which it's not, but like for a moment imagine that it is. I think boxing feels as though Serrano is owed one, right?
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't begrudge her one myself. And I feel as though when there is that preconception, that can seep into judges' thinking in a 2-minute round, which is already so difficult to score when the boxers are evenly matched. And on that subconscious level, if you're flipping a coin in your head, you may try and land it on the side of the boxer who's lost the previous 2.
That's a real thing. I really believe that's the strange thing about the judges. They hear what's going on. It's not like they've been
100%.
sequestered, you know?
Like I will add the caveat that I said similar about the initial rematch in Dallas. I felt as though, with the fact that Serrano was the MVP boxer, with the fact that, again, she had lost the one previously, had she won the last time, it would have definitely set up a trilogy bout. We got it anyway in sort of weirder circumstances than usual, where one boxer has won twice. But I felt as though the industry demand was that Serrano win the rematch. And to be fair to the judges, they obviously scored it as they saw it. I was absolutely astonished by the verdict in that fight, even though I had scored it the same way, which is its own problem and a separate podcast for down the line, right? Like how weird, how
It's crazy to have the same scorecard as the judges ever, right? And I think you were on the money that night, weren't you?
But I had it 95-94. Had it gone 95-94 to Serrano, I wouldn't have blinked. Like, fair enough.
Yeah.
That was an incredibly close fight. But what I mean is that, how embarrassing is it for a sport that when the judges actually do their jobs, you're like, wow, this is almost unique, And with this one, I just feel as though boxing, again, may feel that for Serrano to leave this trilogy without having won one of those fights, considering what she's given to the trilogy itself, considering what she's put into the sport, considering the degree to which she now has elevated the female game alongside Taylor, who for a long time was sort of spearheading it on her own. And I don't mean to disrespect Claressa Shields and others, but Taylor was the commercial star of the sport. She was the poster girl for it. I think in a 50-50, you just lean Serrano's way and just let her have this one. And I also think Taylor is playing with house money here.
Yeah.
She would be very, very annoyed to lose the bout, but I don't think it leaves a scratch on her legacy if she does. What difference does it make? You walk away 2-1 up against one of the greatest female boxers of all time. Worst case scenario, right?
It's not bad.
Got 3 words for you guys. Best of 5.
Don't say that. Well, listen, Gavan, that's all we've got for you, mate. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show today, man. Thank you so much. Get up here and give me a hug before.
Yeah. If we'll be in the media area. If you get in, we'll say hello there too. If you can get in there.
No, I'm going live on YouTube, so I'll see you.
He's doing a TikTok dance for every round.
Thank you, boys.
Nice one, Gav. You're a legend, mate. Well, there you are, lads. I mean,
Want your water?
oh yeah, don't let the man leave. Don't let it. He'll be telling everyone, Petesy Carroll robbed
There
my
you go,
water.
man.
That's
See
what
you,
he's
man.
saying.
Nice
All the
meeting you,
best, Gav. Well, there it is, lads. I don't think you're going to get a better preview for Katie Taylor.
What's that guy's problem, man?
He was stepping on your toes the whole time. I was like, get him out of here, guys.
That was great. I've never actually had a chance to sit down and talk to him. He was great, man.
Man, he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good. So, some people from Ireland are intelligent. It's not just me, guys. They're not all like me, I swear to God. We're going to get on to MMA, but I just wanted to show you one video.
All right.
I don't know if you've seen this.
Okay.
Berlanga's obviously fighting this weekend against Shiraz. And I don't know if you saw this. I didn't want to do this in front of Gavan.
Yeah, no, he's already been to the circus once. He doesn't.
I don't know if he's here to cover this one as well, but feast your eyes on this monstrosity between Edgar Berlanga and Oscar De La Hoya.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, for you, look, remember this shit? Remember
Oh,
that
man. This dude.
Check.
What is happening?
First of all,
What is happening to boxing?
sit down.
Frank Warren in the middle there going, what in the name of God is happening?
Oh, my Lord.
I got the one right here for you.
Such a noble sport, isn't
Right
it?
here for you.
I like to imagine him, out shopping for these women's undergarments for this bit, getting all the ones.
No, lacy pink ones. I want the lacy pink
Something
ones.
that pops.
They need to know what it is from the back row. And there's dollars floating now.
Poor Oscar, man. Never living that one down. The fit
Jordan,
net.
Jordan has just told me that there's no such thing as a Puerto Rican passport. Was that for on-air consumption, Jordan? I'm sorry. Okay, you're my stripper. Well, that's all we need to see. That's all we need to see. That, guys.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I can't even hear. I mean, Oscar, I don't even know what he's saying back there.
I think he's just trying to shout over whatever Berlanga's saying. Like,
Hey, stop talking about that.
Well, look,
Those were the pills I was on.
What is it? Like, I'll tell you what. We're very lucky though because MMA, a pure
Yeah.
sport.
Yes.
We wouldn't get any of these guys coming up in MMA, and luckily enough, we had Dane on the Full Send podcast.
Keeping it real. Yeah.
Keeping it very real about a potential fight happening on the White House. That's how classy MMA is.
Yes.
Let's have a go with that there on air. Oh.
We don't know if he
man.
was serious. Is he not
on,
retired anymore? Is he back in
You
the
jump back in the pool, so
Oh, it's
How
the John
sick is
Jones
that
one.
for
Here
you?
we go.
That now you kind of got this White House event
Does he
for
have
them,
more
and
teeth
it's like
than normal people? Like,
I feel like this is what brings.
No matter
Wonder
who
what
popped
toothpaste
up or who
is.
didn't or whatever, we would have put on an incredible card.
What would be the dream main event?
The dream main event right now would be Aspinall versus Jones.
No boy.
Is it possible that McGregor and Jones would fight on the same card?
We got them all devilish.
So,
Did you foresee it? Yeah.
I didn't
See
ask.
that?
I didn't get to ask you about this White House thing. This is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is really exciting. And now we're going to go right back into these hypotheticals. We just finally
You don't think Tom Aspinall and John Jones are going to fight on the lawn of the White House?
That would be a really sad 250th celebration, wouldn't it?
Red coat against U.S. Come on, this is perfect.
If you want to see a red coat, like walk out there with a belt, you know.
It's amazing that we're somehow back to talking about Tom Aspinall and John Jones again. After it felt like a countdown to just let us down.
It feels better to be the hunter again, you know, rather than the hunted.
I believe we had some tweets as well.
Yeah.
We have these amazing lines from John Jones. Feels nice to be a hunter and not the hunted for once. Just re-entered the testing pool. That lasted for about 2 weeks. Figured we keep everyone's options open. Fighting at the White House? ? Eyeballs. Donald made his announcement. Donald made his announcement on the morning of the 4th.
I'll just leave it at that.
I called the UFC headquarters that very.
See, man, I said that he was going to have to like. The biggest problem with him retiring ever is the attention. Tickles his pickle. It's not even like it's the attention, right? Like once the attention is no longer on him, how is he going to handle that? And I don't want to see all that stuff, man.
Which part of it? There's so many layers to this. The White House, Tom.
I don't want to go through it anymore.
Do you remember
I'm out of the Jones business right now.
We're still doing a weekly segment. We did a weekly segment on John Jones since November, and here he is again, crawling back into our show. Fantastic, John. I do appreciate you for that. But guess what, mate?
All right.
You thought that Ilya Topuria and Islam Makhachev wasn't going to happen, right?
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Well, quiet down and listen to what he had to say to the Nelk boys again.
Another massive fight would be Ilya versus Islam too.
God,
of course.
Yeah.
But Salim is obsessed with that fight. He's obsessed with it. And I tell him, I'm like, but they both got to win more fights in their division first, right? That's kind of how you do it, right? When it's like they both run through their division, and then it's like you're in the position where it's like, I got to make this. That's what happened with Volk Islam, right?
Well, the other thing is that Islam moves up, and obviously if Islam won the title, you know, you immediately have a super fight
like
with
that
him.
And boy could like, pull a zipper down his.
Could that be? Islam gets one victory.
You have to see. It's one thing to sit around. This is what the media always tries to do. Sit around and talk about these fights before they happen.
That's what you're doing right now.
Hypothetically speaking, I don't like
watching a podcast.
These are options that we have if things play out that way. But you know,
fucking media guys always trying to do it, talking about the sport. What?
I'm glad you didn't show Gavin any of this. It's like I didn't read the article, but that sounded very interesting about the dying breed.
Yeah.
And if you watch this stuff, you get exactly what he's talking about. You know,
it's crazy. It's good fun though. I
hope Salim gets it though at some point. I hope he gets
the one he
fight.
wants. Salim.
That's the one he wants, and that's the one that Dana will put together. You watch.
Do you know what I was told today, Chuck? And it went right over my head, and I know we both attended this event. It is the 10-year anniversary.
Oh, man.
Of UFC 189, possibly one of the greatest mixed martial arts events ever. This was Sinead O'Connor. This was absolutely insane. Lawler McDonald, one of the greatest fights of all time, and then like the coronation moment of Conor McGregor, one of the massive moments in his career. Obviously, this is just before the Aldo fight. He was supposed to fight Aldo that night. Mendez stepped in on short notice.
So good.
And it was just
circumstances. That was the high point. Well, maybe the Aldo fight, right? But this was among the high points because it was the zero hesitation to face a guy that we all thought would be the exact worst, matchup for him, to go against a guy who was going to try to wrestle him, and for him to just say like, yeah, let's go, let's do it, and to survive, the initial round where it looks like, oh man, here we go, Mendez is going to wrestle him, and to win that fight. I can just remember thinking there was a lot at stake, and I mean for everybody, because it was like for the advancement and the boom period of MMA at where it was at, there was like this, you wanted the magic ride to continue, and he delivered that in the biggest way that night.
Yeah, and I was that was obviously the camp where I was embedded with them.
Yeah,
I was ghostwriting that book, and his knee was gone, dude. Like 3 times. I was staying with him in May. He was staying in Henderson, so probably 20 minutes from the strip, like. And on 3 occasions while I was there, I'd get a phone call off Artem or Owen Roddy, and they'd be like, "We're all going home. Like, we just can't keep working."
It's crazy.
And we'd all pack our stuff, and then they'd be like, "No, he's gonna keep going." And he was in the physical pain he was in during that camp was absolutely outrageous. And what he was doing then, it's actually understated how brilliant McGregor was as a fighter. Like obviously, his legacy, we've talked about it ad nauseum. What it's gone on to be, that the stuff outside the cage is now as pertinent as any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's a crazy juxtaposition when you're talking about your 2 national icons.
Yeah.
Katie Taylor, we were talking about, from the Rio Olympics, and you're like, oh, she might be done.
Yeah.
To what she's been to accomplish in maybe 10 years' time, right? Like something like that. Conor McGregor, where he was at that point when we think he's going to the moon, like he's that, what's happened to him over the last 10 years.
Yeah, it is.
That's very different trajectories, but it's it's crazy.
We actually we had a bit of a public appearance from Conor McGregor this weekend.
Oh yeah, is he back in the public?
Yeah, he's doing a bit of media. Can we have a look at Conor?
I do like the dough. I'm in this zone until I can clear my slate. It's looking like I'm headed to the Oval Office again.
Yeah,
so that's where I'm heading next. But I let these men fight for this one, and I'll support them and back them all the way.
Anytime Yoel Romero is in a 2-shot like that is the least crazy. You're looking at something.
That's Andy's friend you're talking about, man. Andy's translator.
That's literally my bestie.
Well, no offense, but he is crazy.
That wasn't really the clip I was thinking about.
Which one?
Mike Perry. Do we have that one?
You're welcome back, because I welcomed you back. October 11th is your date, and you'll dance for me, boy. You'll dance for the owner, and then we can talk. But your date is October 11th. Michael Perry, the return of Platinum. And we've got some hell of an announcement for an opponent for you. One of the baddest men to ever grace the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
What's he going to do?
To bare knuckle, and he's going to throw down with you in front of me for my viewing pleasure. And then I'll decide if you're worthy.
Feldman's like, I wonder how much I have in my account right now.
Is he gonna bite him?
Man,
still on top of the game, huh?
I think it was our boy GC was talking about if you look at sound bites from 10 years ago, you're like, man, what a master, and now you're watching these. Like, I don't even know what that was. I don't know.
I can't look away though for some reason. I'm like, what?
We'll see it to its most tragic conclusion.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, look, a wild week. We're back talking about Tom Aspinall and John Jones.
Yeah.
Ilia and Islam. We have Conor at the BKFC. A magic few days.
Like how Dana, though, brings those up as if we haven't been contemplating. Is he just so checked out that he doesn't know what's going on around him?
I don't. I just think he shows up on them podcasts and just steer me into something. Yeah. And your man says, wouldn't that going to be great? And then he goes, yeah, that
would be great.
It's gonna be fucking great, mate. Of course it is. Chuck, I know that you obviously spent some time working with Ben Askren. You wrote his book. You ghost wrote his book, and I know you've been putting out recently again, and you're going to donate all the proceeds to his family and there's the book. We have it up on screen now.
Oh, look at that.
Chuck's tweet. This is an incredible person whose fighting spirit is never in doubt. I had the privilege of helping Ben write his book, and his story is even more remarkable now. Any proceeds on my end will go directly to Ben and his family. And there it is, Funky, my defiant path through the wild world of combat sports. And fair play, Chuck. That's a very nice gesture by you, man.
I mean, I was talking to Ariel about this too, because he was going to. I think they're donating that blackjack tabletop, that everybody signed, which I thought was really cool. And I'd been in touch with the publisher, and I was like, what can we do? Because you feel helpless through these situations. This is a guy I spent, several days with him and his family, and went through his entire story. This is when he was coming. He had his hip surgery, so he wasn't able to get around. And just to kind of see that video that he put out, and I'd been in touch with him a little bit, and I knew, I had texted him early, and I saw that he'd sent some prayer hands back, and I was like, okay, he's at least looking at his phone. And I saw he retweeted that. I think he's on the, he's on the mend. It's a beautiful thing that he's coming back. But to see that video was very difficult for me, man. Just knowing him and his family, a little bit better, and just to see that. So anything we can do for Ben, man. I mean, I'll happily give. Buy the book. It's definitely worth it. His story is 100% extraordinary, even without what's been going on now. But you add into it his fighting spirit now, and I think you'll appreciate the way he believes and the way he, came up and all the things he achieved even more, just seeing who he is now.
Jordan just told me that he's pinned the link to the book at the top of the live chat. If you want to help, please go and get the book. Chuck Mindenhall is one of the greatest writers of all time in combat sports, and obviously Ben's story is absolutely incredible. And look, you're right, when you see Ben, and he's obviously dropped an incredible amount of weight, and it's a striking image. But it's also so admirable how strong he is. Yeah. And going through this fight so publicly and being like, look, I died 4 times. I'm after losing all this weight, but I'm still here.
Sort of nonchalantly.
He's an incrable
I mean, he came on. One of the greatest things he did was after, I think it was the Masvidal. This is the pivot point of his career. And it becomes a meme. People mercilessly tease him about it, and they still do. Even now, they still do. And him to go on Ariel's show, I think the Monday after, I think it was, and to just handle it like any athlete should watch him and study him, because he had the right mindset, on how to handle losses, how to handle victories. That book really delves into that. But anyway, like I just have a ton of respect for him. That's why I do it. People have asked me a lot of times, just like you've probably been approached to write books for people, and you're always like, nah, I always say no. But for some reason, it was during the pandemic or right around the time when Ben asked, I was like, let's do this, man.
Yeah, and look, it's a guy he certainly has experience overcoming odds, and he's gonna fight as much as he can. He's obviously an absolute savage. Like that is all I could think about when I was like, this guy is so fucking strong. Even though he's in this vulnerable position, he's gonna fight the whole way.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Crazy.
You have you spoke. I don't know if the article is out yet, but
it should be up today, I think.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is fighting Gabriel Bonfils this weekend on the co-main event. The lads did a great breakdown of this card yesterday. It is not quite an Apex card. It's a it's a step up from one. I think GC said one step up from an Apex card. It is the Nashville card, and it is headlined by Derek Lewis and Taliesin Teixeira. You're talking to Stephen Thompson, who you told me today, 42 years of age, taking on a young whippersnapper relatively in Gabriel.
They're trying to kill him off. Let's call it what it is. Like when they make these kind of fights, you're like, all right, we need to get this guy over. But I think the Wonderboy Thompson is great. Like I talked to him. He's the oldest fighter in the UFC now, active fighter, 42 years old. He's like a couple of weeks older than Jan Blachowicz, I think. So he's now the top, which is crazy, right? Because his name is Wonder Boy, and we think of him in this very boyish way, like I guess. But it's always, I like talking to guys that are in those positions. And you're like, well, what is it? What are you trying to do now? What is it about for you? That sort of thing. So check it out. I thought his answers were, very insightful for a guy his age. He's kind of soaking it all in, I think, at this point.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a tough one for him. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight, of course. Yeah, I've hit everything, right, Jordan? I've nailed this today. Is that fair to say? I just knocked this out of the park.
There it is. I knew it.
He gets me every time that happens.
Usually, though, he waits until you're like halfway through your outro. And the outros are like 20 minutes. So
today, Andy was like, let me just do it. I don't care what he's saying. I might do it in the middle of this Katie Taylor talk.
Talk about the BKFC tournament announcement. Thanks. Get GC up here. Is he still back there? He's been filled in on all this.
What were the announcement? I don't know.
Yeah, what is it? Open weight tournament, $15 million to the winner, $1 million to the second place. I think even down to last place gets $100K. But it doesn't start till March of 2026. So we still got to fill out the bracket, everything like that. But I mean, $15 million to the winner. That fight's going to be crazy. Like you're watching a bare knuckle boxing match for $15 million on the line. Fair play to him.
Wow.
Fair play
to him.
That's exactly right.
Fair play to him.
We also did get a Mike Perry's going to be fighting this fall. I believe for the BKFC middleweight title. Put the belt around him.
This is it. Look, our BKFC correspondent.
Not a big pop here. I actually should have. I was wearing my hat last night, walking around my locale. I got a BKFC hat.
You were at the famed Wells Fargo event.
I was at the Wells Fargo. I got a BKFC duffel as well. I brought it to Vegas. I was walking through the airport with it, and a guy came up to me and was like, "You fight for them." I was like,
"You knuckle up, bro?" Did he say
knuckle up? That is what he said, actually. I just want to do the translation for the audience. Yeah, he was like, "You knuckle up, bro?" I was like, Nah, I actually just cover it. I am a wimp.
I know I look like an athlete.
Yeah, I am a bitch.
Don't be fooled.
Speaking of BKFC fighters, is the reason that Ben's not here is that he's actually training for Ice Wars?
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to with no limbs.
He's going to be a little pissed off that we made that public.
Just don't want to get emotional, lads. Jeez, don't put it on the screen again. Oh, my God.
It just breaks your heart, man.
So beautiful.
Got a new haircut, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
like that's when he was still, I guess, playoff Ben. I don't know what.
He could be a hair model, that man.
He could.
He's gorgeous hair.
Dude's getting better looking with age. You know what I mean?
It makes me
pisses me off.
Yeah, fuck Ben. But yeah, obviously, we have to make our pick before we go.
Oh man. Nobody's gonna care what I pick.
Well, me and GC, we're on. We know what we're picking. We've said it many times.
Hear it. I didn't hear it.
Could you hazard a guess by any chance who I'm picking in the Katie Taylor fight in Madison?
Serrano, round 2. That would be the most shocking, honestly, if somebody gets knocked out.
That'd be crazy.
I feel like that's not happening.
Who are you picking, Chuck? For Christ's sake,
I'm going Serrano, but I think it's a wise man, Douglas Crosby, once told me, you skate to where the puck is going. You don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where it's going. And I felt like these two fights have pointed towards Serrano win this fight.
An ice hockey reference again.
Yeah.
This is.
It's all ice hockey.
It is.
It's like it's all pro wrestling. It's all ice hockey.
I don't know if you saw, by the way, yesterday on the Boys in the Back, I gave out everyone a gift because, I wanted to get people here from, something to say I love yous. And all of you guys, I love yous, don't you? I've proven that now over the last few days. Yes?
Who, me?
I mean, I'm breaking my ass here to try and show yous I love you. You know what I mean? I love yous, okay? All of you.
A little louder for the people in the back.
But Chuck, I did not want to leave you out of said situation.
Oh, what happened here? What's all this?
I was in touch with your fantastic wife, Rebecca, and I tried to figure out what size that beautiful head of yours is because we have a flat cap all the way from Hannah Hatton, Donegal, baby.
How'd you smuggle this in? I rode over here with you. Were you carrying this?
We brought it in yesterday, and GC, you covered up. So you brought it in earlier, didn't you, GC? You did a little smuggle.
I'm not going to lie, snuck it in, and Chuck looked directly at it.
I did?
Yeah.
One thing you guys will realize if you see me in here a lot is I am very unobservant.
Oh, yeah. I was like, he knows. He knows.
I was wearing my tag on the back of my shirt earlier.
Yeah, Frank had to pull that off. But, Elaine wrapped that for you. That is obviously not my skill. But
you want me to open it?
Yes,
all right.
Of course.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be difficult to
let's hope not.
If it is. Do we have any rapping music to maybe just get him through this? Here we go. Super. Another
one. All right, yes. Let's go to that.
Loved you in studio, Pete. C vibes were immaculate. Pete C. Oh, yeah, that's how I spell it. Thank you, Brian M, for the $1.99, mate. This is it here. Let's go. Let's hope this is the color palette we're looking for. Oh, that's it. That's the music you want when you're opening an old Hannah hat from Donegal.
Oh, they got this all taped up here. Hold on. You have some scissors or something?
Use this pencil.
Oh, here we go.
Stab it open.
Here we go. It's got 2 erasers. Oh, this is this?
Oh, he has many.
This is V pencil. That gets waved around.
There's 85 of them.
All right. Hope he doesn't get mad. Don't get mad, Ariel.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing what this bad boy is.
All right, let's see.
You haven't seen it yet, Pete?
No, I haven't opened the box.
Okay.
Oh, get rid of that invoice. Throw that away, Chuck. Don't look at that. Don't look at that.
All right.
Jesus. Sorry.
Would you look at that? So this is an Irish company?
This is an Irish company. They are meant to be the best hats you can get in Ireland. That is Donegal tweed. A Donegal tweed with salt flecks going through it.
You want to see?
You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Whatever you want, but of course I would love to see.
All right, guys, gotta look at my dome here.
Oh.
What do you think?
Oh, look at that. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, baby. It fits
Rebecca,
perfect.
you got the hat size correctly. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I had to send her a list of the the sizes, and she came back to me with I think it's this one.
That is funny, man.
Legend, Rebecca. Thank you so much. That is amazing.
I love it, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. Well, look, guys, it's been a beautiful time here. I've had a great time working with all the beautiful people at the Ariel Helwani show, all the fantastic people at Yahoo Sports. They've treated me like a brother and a great friend, and they are all my great friends, and I've had a fantastic time here today. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Henry, who's in here with us now. Chuck Mindenhall. Thank you
Frailty.
so much.
What are all the ones that Lannis Morissette thinks?
Thank you, Frailty. Thank you, Consequence. Thank you to Ariel Helwani. He's going to be in the ring tonight talking to all those fantastic fighters. He did a great job at the weigh-in yesterday. I think we got to make this a regular thing. Lads, I love you very much. Enjoy all the fights. I've enjoyed being here immensely. And there's my music again. So, of course, I am talking too much once again. I love you very much. Have a fantastic weekend. Mwah!